Hey, I'm TJ Schwanke, and welcome to Outdoor Quest TV. On today's episode, we are going on what has long been my ultimate dream hunt, but you're gonna have to stay with us a little while to find out what that is. First, we're gonna be setting up a long-range rifle here, and I've got this Sacco Carbon Light here, and it's chambered in 7 mag, and it's a real favorite rifle of mine for long-range shooting, and it's a great chambering as well. On top of that, we've got the 3-18 Zeiss V6, and it's got both exposed turrets on it, plus it's got a ballistic reticle inside of it. The first thing when you're setting up a long-range rifle is finding a load that it likes to shoot, and we've shot multiple loads through this, and happily it really likes this Precision Hunter with that 162 grain ELDX in it. This is by far the most accurate factory ammunition I've shot, and by far the most accurate bullet I've shot, and thankfully this rifle likes it. There's a couple other things you want to consider though with a long-range bullet. It's great if it has a high ballistic coefficient, which this one does. And the other thing it needs to do is expand reliably at lower impact velocities that are often associated with long-range shots. So, this bullet, I've trusted all the way down to an impact velocity of around 1,500 feet per second. So the next thing we want to do is zero our rifle at 200 yards, which I've already done. So I talked about this rifle's got exposed turrets and a ballistic reticle in it. What that allows us to do is hold right on our point of aim and get the same point of impact through a wide variety of ranges. And that's really critical. We don't want to be guessing how much to hold over or anything like that. If I'm shooting at 500 yards, I want to hold the crosshair right where I want it to hit. And same if I'm shooting at 800 or 200. So both these systems allow me to do this. The one variable, however, that we really need to pay attention to is muzzle velocity. Now, Hornady gives you a suggested muzzle velocity for this ammunition, and the rifle they ran it through, that'll be accurate, but every rifle is going to be different. So we need to know the exact muzzle velocity with this load in this rifle for the turrets and the ballistic reticle to be accurate. So what we need to do now is run this through the chronograph. Now, there's a lot of schools of thought about how many shots you want to run through a chronograph to get an accurate muzzle velocity. I like to start with 5. And if I've got a range of, say, less than about 25 feet per second in those 5 shots, then I'm going to call that good. So let's run a couple shots downrange and see what we got here. Turn the chrony on. Here we go. Okay, so we've run 5 shots through there now, and I looked at my average, and I've got an average of 28.55 for my muzzle velocity. So this is a little bit lower than what Hornady suggested as their muzzle velocity, so that's a really good thing to know. So now we can take that and just plug it into our calculator, and we'll know exactly what the turret needs to be turned to or what reticles we're going to use to accurately use this rifle. For us, the kill does not define the hunt.
For us, the hunt is about the journey. Join us
on our journey. Outdoor Quest TV is brought to you by Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Sacco and Tikka Firearms, demand perfection. Zeiss, we make it visible. WILLOW Boots, simply more. Silver Willow Taxidermy, see the difference. Closed captioning provided by Deluxe Wall Tents, made in Canada for Canadian conditions. So now that we've got our rifles sighted in and we've run it through the chronograph, what we're going to do is we're going to take those numbers and we're going to run them into the Zeiss app. Now there's a new Zeiss app and it's called Zeiss Hunting. So you want to make sure you have the newer one. This replaces the old Zeiss app. You can find it at the Apple Store, at Google Play, or right at Zeiss.com, and it's free. So make sure you do have the new one. And we're just going to open it up. So great thing about this app is it does a whole bunch of different things. And one of the cool things it does is you can actually Bluetooth with the new Zeiss RF range-finding binoculars. So that's a really cool feature. It gives you much more up-to-date atmospheric conditions, and it allows you to better use the profiles. And if you want more information on that, we've done a separate video on that. But today I just want to talk about setting up a ballistic profile on here. So that's down here. So I'm just going to scroll up. Down at the bottom it says new profile. So we'll enter in a new profile. So let's call this 7RM Carbon Light. And you can set one of these up for each one of your rifles, and it saves all the information. So when atmospheric conditions change and things like that, it's just a matter of going to your app and checking it out. I'm just doing it on the tablet here, so it's easier to see, but you can do it right off your phone as well. Now, let's choose the rifle scope we're using. And we've got the Zeiss V6, and we've got a 3-18 by 50. So that's going to put that in. We've got a sight above the bore of 2 inches. Now, the automatic sight in for this is 100 yards, and that works well if you're using this the way it's set up now, but we're going to do something a little different. And so to do that, we're going to set it up for 200 yards, and I'll explain that to you very shortly. So done. And in this, we've got the ZBR2 reticle. So it gives you the 3 reticle options that come with it, but it's important to pick the right one. Now we're using factory loads in this, and the brand is obviously Hornady. The caliber is 7RM mag. Bullet. We know we're using the ELDX Precision Hunter in the 162 grain. So put all that in. So that's automatically going to give us our ballistic coefficient, things like that. Now, it's also going to give us the manufacturer's suggested muzzle velocity. And you'll see this is a little bit higher than what we got. So that's why it's important to run your actual rifle through a chronograph if you're going to be long range shooting. We need a number that's accurate here, and we know our number is 2,855 feet per second. So that's the only one variable in here that I really suggest people, you have to run your load through a chronograph. And we're going to accept all that, and now we're going to hit continue. It knows the temperature, it knows the pressure, everything else. The only thing it doesn't know is the altitude. And where we're shooting, it's about 4,000 feet. So put that in. So we're going to save this profile. Now this profile will be saved in here forever, and I'll be able to access it off my phone or the tablet. And the great thing is, as atmospheric conditions change, so will my variables. So the first thing it's going to show us is what the hash marks represent on the reticle. And you'll see there's on the left side, that's the very small mark in between the big marks. And on the right side, that's the bigger hash marks. So you can see this one goes all the way out to 864 yards. So if we want to use the ballistic reticle, this is a very accurate representation of what each hash mark will represent. The only variable here is if you change your magnification, you'll see that things change dramatically here. So what I like to do is just leave that at 18 power. Now, if we go over to table, what that's going to do is give us our drop and windage tables. And the great thing about that is it gives us the number of clicks that we want to use for each yardage. Very, very accurate. One of the problems with using a turret with MOA or inches on it is you have to remember the amount of clicks. And so what you'll see a lot of people do is they'll make up a table. So they'll actually copy this table and they'll print it onto a card. They'll laminate that card and they'll maybe tape it onto their stock. They'll carry that card in their pocket. But in a hunting situation, when things are happening fast, it's not always that convenient. We just started working with a company called Ballistics Targeting Systems. And what they do is actually burn custom turrets for your scope that are yardage indicated. So you don't have to remember the number of clicks or anything like that. You'll see on here, there's a bunch of numbers on it, and each one of those numbers represents yardage. So if I want to shoot 500 yards, it's simply a matter of turning it to the number 5. So it really simplifies things, especially in a hunting situation. So they make it for the Zeiss V4 and the V6. and they also make it for a wide variety of other scopes. So go on their website and check it out if they make it for your scope. If you have an external turret on your scope, they probably do. And they also make tapes that you can stick on to turrets that don't come off. So it's a really handy system. So absolutely nothing to change it out. What we're going to do is we've got just two little screws here, little torque screws, loosen those. And the thing you don't want to do is take those all the way out. They just need to be loosened, and that just pops right off. Now the great thing about the Zeiss scopes is they actually have a zero stop in there, and what that means is when you turn your turret back to zero, which in this case will be our 200 yard zero, it stops there. And it's super easy to adjust. But rather than show you here, just go on the Zeiss website and it'll show you how to do it. You can do it in a couple minutes. So now we're going to take our ballistics turret. So what we did is we supplied the folks at ballistics the muzzle velocity for the rifle we're shooting, what bullet we're using and everything else. And they ran that same calculation basically that the Zeiss app did, and that allowed them to custom burn this turret for this rifle. And it doesn't get any more accurate than that. So this turret starts at 200 yards, and that's why we zeroed for 200 yards. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna set this turret on, making sure that the 2 lines up exactly with our 0 mark on the back. And now it's just a matter of just tightening those. And you want them snug, those little torque screws, but you don't want them over tight. And there we go. So now, rather than having to remember how many clicks or anything like that, or if an animal you shoot at it, it moves quickly, and you're trying to go back to your chart and trying to remember what's going on, it's really simple. You just turn it. So if somebody's calling out 300 yards, you dial it to 3. If that animal suddenly moves out to 400 or 500, it's just a matter of turning it to there. Now, the final step in all this is to go back out to the range and truth it. Outdoor Quest TV is brought to you by Defense Aerosols, bear spray for when your life depends on it. Safari Club International Canada, first for hunters. Alberta Outdoorsman magazine. Midland Radio's communication for every adventure. So we're back out at the range now, and we've set a metal gong out at 500 yards. And what we're going to do is we're going to truth the reticle, and we're going to truth the turret. And part of being an ethical long-range shooter is knowing your gear and knowing that your gear is accurate. So we gave great information to the folks at ballistics, so everything should be right on, but we just have to make sure. So the great thing about this turret is now I don't have to consult the chart or anything else to know how many clicks I got to go. I'm just going to turn it to 500. So I'm just going to turn it to the number 5. So that's as simple as it is. I'll put my ears on here. Send a couple down there. Got a little touch of a breeze here today, so that's looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is check the reticle. So I ran the reticle on the numbers back when we were running it on the Zeiss app. So I know which hash mark is going to be my 500. So I'm just going to hold that on and see how that works. It looks pretty good. Well, I promised you we were going to take you on a pretty amazing hunt, so let's go. Well, last time we left you, we were setting up a rifle for a very special hunt. The rifle got set up. We arrived on the very special hunt, but unfortunately they both didn't arrive together. So, as often happens when you're hunting outside the country, permits don't always come together, and we had a little trouble with our Canadian export permit, so we are sans the Saco that we spent quite a few weeks setting, or a month setting up for this trip, but not a big deal. We're well equipped here. Where are we, you ask? We're in Mexico, and this is a hunt that, I don't know, I just always thought would be nothing but a dream. And we're in Sonora, and we're hunting desert sheep. Desert sheep have always kind of been the holy grail of the sheep world, but as hunt prices are increasing dramatically on the other species, desert sheep are actually getting pretty affordable. You know, I never thought I'd complete my Grand Slam, but here I am, about to embark on that journey. You can kind of look up at these mountains around us here. It's a pretty special place we're at right now. And this is Sonora. Right across down there is the Sea of Cortez, Tiburon Island. It was actually the rams that came right from these mountains right here that were the original seed stock for Tiburon Island. So amazing genetics here. And we are definitely hunting with one of the best outfitters in Sonora, and we'll take you over and introduce you quickly. You see Rob's got the spotting scope set up already, looking, apparently there's rams right up here. So what do you see, Rob?
As usual, not much. John sees everything.
John sees everything?
That's right.
So this is our outfitter, Rob Brown here. And these are your eyes in the mountains, apparently, John.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you see some rams up there?
He did see something up there. I don't know if it's rams or what's going on.
So you're saying this is a pretty special place here, though, and you've been hunting here for 8 years, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
super unique place, and sort of the ram factory where everything is born and raised and dispersed. There's the Seri Reservation to the north of us, and most of the time the better rams that come off that Seri Reservation end up getting kicked off here. There's just not enough room to house all the rams, so it is a special place, that's for sure, and you'll witness that in the next few days, that's for sure. It's always sort of a race when we get here to who can spot the first ram. I can honestly say I've never won.
Yeah, I can see why.
There's number 3.
They are tough to see up there, aren't they?
They are, yeah, they blend in really well.
This segment is brought to you by Stony Creek Hunting Gear. It's in the blood. For more information on true free-range hunting for desert bighorns in Mexico, talk to Rob Brown at Timber King Outfitting. You can check them out online at timberkingoutfitting.com. Actually looking at the first desert sheep I've ever looked at, so it's pretty cool. There's I can see 2 rams there. They're just browsing on some bushes there. Man, do they blend in though.
Another one, single ram, quite a ways to the right in a different area, but there's probably more. He's looking into the drainage we can't see into.
There was 3 there together though?
There's 3 in that group that you're looking at, yeah.
Okay.
The third one that we didn't see is the biggest out of the 3, but he's not that much bigger. But there'll be a big one in there somewhere.
Looking at sheep and cactus just seems wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely a little different.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Just beautiful sunsets on the Sea of Cortez. These beautiful red mountains in front of us with sheep all over them. I don't know what the big deal is. So, first morning here, Timber King Outfitters, Rob Brown. So, what's the plan this morning, Rob?
We are going to go up around the north end of the ranch and take a look and see if we can find you a good bighorn. Try and make it simple.
Is sheep hunting ever simple?
It can be here.
We did see some nice rams up here yesterday, but you said there's just lots of sheep country here, so we're going to spend a few days looking and
You bet. So
see if we can find something exceptional.
yeah, we try and go big or go home, but yeah, there's some good rams up there. That one we seen last night was
I mean,
60
dandy
rams.
ram, but you're like, you may as well look for a few days. So you've killed some great rams out of here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've got the time, so we might as well use it.
Well, sun's going to come up shortly, so I guess we'll get out there, see what we can see. You said the rams are up for like only a couple hours in the morning.
Yeah, a couple hours. It just depends. If it's cloudy, then we get a little bit more out of the morning. But
Yeah, cool.
it starts to heat up, then they bed down.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, good.
All right.
Let's do it.
Well, first morning here in Sonora hunting desert sheep, and we've driven a ways from camp, and kind of what we're going to do here for the first day or two is just kind of drive some of these roads and glass the mountains around here. They've got one mountain here behind us. They've killed quite a few big rams off over the years, and so we will start where history has been good to them. But apparently, all of these mountains hold sheep, and what I've been told is they move a lot. So just because you see a ram on this mountain today doesn't mean he's not going to be over on that mountain tomorrow. So just keep glassing, and it's kind of nice to see Cortez is right here though, so we've got a bit of a nice breeze coming off of it, and even yesterday it was warm, but that breeze kind of really helps. Just lots of glass. We've got John and Carlos, they're two of the local fellows here that kind of run the hunts, and then we've got Rob, and I don't know if my glasses will be any help or not, but it's hard when you go somewhere new to spot. And I know we were spotting sheep yesterday, and those guys were just bang, 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 and it took me a little bit, but hopefully after a day or two I get onto it. See what we see. So what do you think we got going on there?
Oh, we've got a couple of rams that we spotted first thing this morning on the left. We've got 2 in that group, and we've got a single between and another 2 on the right. 4 good rams. I mean, they're all pretty good rams. One's definitely a lot bigger than the rest, but we're just going to wait them out and see what they do. Got to sort of give it a little bit of time, let it warm up, and then they bed down and we'll make our move. But they're in a tough spot, that's for sure.
Well, we definitely don't have the problem of not finding any sheep. It's just which one's the big one?
Yeah, that's right.
We definitely on just 2 really good rams up there, though, isn't there?
Yeah. This one that we're looking at now, we thought we found the ram you were going to shoot earlier this morning, the first one we seen, but the more I look at him, the more he's growing. Like, if you look at him there now, TJ, I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer. He's up. Yeah, he's up, TJ. Just getting the gun.
Outdoor Quest TV is also brought to you by these fine sponsors.